This is where the fun begins.
Hello, and how are you guys doing? And welcome again to my channel, OG Star Wars. And hopefully I see people return that I've seen in Coffee Chat. I know that we have a few streams going tonight, or a couple at least, and that's fine here. And so we are having Talking EU, and so what that is basically a time I get to sit down with someone, Teresa, sit down, and
I am
and then,
seated.
Yes, awesome. And then get to interview them about Star Wars, how they became involved, how it affected their life, what it means to them, all that fun stuff here. And today I have in the hot seat Miss Martin Muses. Hello, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine, surviving.
Surviving, that's all we can do right now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And, so it's a joy to have you here. I've been looking forward to this. Like I said, we have other streams that are going to be happening here pretty soon. And so I welcome you guys to, come by and swing and listen and then go support them and, live stream hop, I guess you can say.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, we can't, it's hard to decide when you're going to stream. And because of, everybody's got their own schedules and stuff, but we are here now. So we're going to get with this, but we do have people popping in here, and I have Shane Nolan here. Two of my favorite ladies on YouTube. Thank you so much, Shane, for coming in as well. And so Teresa, so what I like to do, and I gave you a rundown earlier and just letting the audience know as well, is that, again, I like to, just put you in that hot seat and talk to you about Star Wars, nerd around about it, what it means to you and all that stuff. And so the very first question, I have for you tonight is, how did you get into the EU? What novel was your gateway into the expanded universe?
Well, the first big one was Heir to the Empire.
Okay.
Yeah. I was minding my own business. I was at the mall and I just saw Heir to the Empire with Star Wars on it. And I was like, what the heck is that? Mm-hmm. And went over and checked it out. And it said, what happens next with Star Wars. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because that was back before we had it. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know it was coming. I didn't know it was on its way. And so I just devoured it.
Right.
And it became the next big trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, that's amazing. And usually that's like during the time, because we all know, and I'm pretty sure you know this, is that Heir to the Empire or the Thrawn trilogy, when it was back then, it was called the trilogy or the Empire trilogy. So for you guys who know the exact terms, like what the nickname of it was in the past, Empire trilogy. And that was what opened up and made them decide to make a continuity and open up the EU as one continuity from the movies and link all the multimedias that they have going on. So we could say Zahn, that writing from Zahn was one of the major influences to that. And I think that's brilliant. I really do. Mm-hmm. And so with that, reading that story and stuff, who would you say in that trilogy is your favorite character? Not the favorite character of yours, but in that trilogy.
Oh, in that trilogy, that's a hard one. That's a hard one.
Yes.
Well, how's this? I'll make it easier by getting rid of the big three, because it goes without saying that those are always going to be my favorites. Of course, Mara Jade. Of course, it was Mara Jade. Everyone loved her, and it wasn't even like a big trendy thing. It was just, this character is friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
And I knew right away they were meant to be. They were meant to be, and I recall being very surprised that at the end of the trilogy they didn't get together. I thought surely there's going to be some sort of romance. Of course, we got that later with the duology, but I loved her. She was fresh, and I thought it was very fascinating to see someone that was formerly of the Empire. We didn't really see a character like that had converted over, because of course the original trilogy didn't have time for those kind of side quests, for lack of a better word. So
okay,
and that there was someone out there that missed the Empire.
Yeah, exactly. And so the ending, and I'm not gonna call out any spoilers, because this trilogy is the most read. If you have not read it, then I don't know what to tell you. Okay. But so at the end of the trilogy, when he hands her that lightsaber, what did you think about that?
I was just squeeing like a little girl, of course, because I'm like, he gave her his lightsaber. It was it was a bit of a surprise, though, because you would think he would want to keep it since it belonged to his father, and it was what Obi-Wan gave him, and it's what he fought with. But I think it actually, once I had thought about it, it made sense that Luke's lightsaber as a Jedi Knight that he'd created was his green one, the one that we saw in Return of the Jedi,
Right.
And so it kind of was very fitting that he wanted to give that old blue lightsaber, one that had a checkered past, if you will, to Mara, because it kind of mirrored her, didn't it? Which she'd also experienced, and that she was beginning her journey.
Right. And it was like a perfect match or whatever. So we have Stig here, and I just showed everybody's hello to us as they were popping in. But he says, "Hello, hot bunnies. Hope you are well."
Yeah. Oh wait, hottie bunnies, rather.
Hottie bunnies. Sorry, hottie bunnies.
That's all right.
And then we have Tommy, greetings. And then Matt Wilkins is here. Hello, Teresa.
Hello. And
then he goes, "Get stuffed, Stig."
Aww.
Those two, they're a hoot when they get on together. And then Chaos Man 17, hello. And so everybody's popping in now. So thank you guys for joining us. And so again, we'll go back to the Empire, since that's what you read first. Let's see here. What did you think? Because we knew like Han was a smuggler, right? We kind of had an idea with that. We really didn't get to see any smuggling, although we knew of his past. It was spoken of in the trilogy, the original trilogy. So when you met Talon Card, what was your impression about him?
I liked him. I liked him, the fact that he was a smuggler, but he wasn't a Han clone. Maybe that's hindsight speaking because of another book, but he had depth to him, and he was also a character that you could see was not just a smuggler, but almost a mobster, but in a more sophisticated kind of way, like the way that he was in that shady world.
He was kind of like, I would say, maybe a small beacon in a shady world. Like, he ran his business, of course. He worked in an area that's very shady and stuff, but he also kept morals, and he kept a tight ship and professional relationship with the people he brought in. Yeah.
I remember this first scene, or one of the first scenes we saw with him, was when he invited Mara for dinner. And she was like, "Okay, all right, here we go. He's going to want to sleep with me." And he established very quickly his boundaries that no, indeed.
Yeah. He's like, it's
all
just
professional
a
here.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I thought too, is like, whoa, okay. So was he trying to court her? It was like the opposite. I'm like, okay, it had that suggestiveness of like courting or being attracted to. And I'm pretty sure, she was a sight for sore eyes. Of course, we all know that. And so why, for him, probably the same too, but he kept professional. He kept everything professional and such. Let's see here. And then, so what did you think about Thrawn?
He was a great villain. I thought that he was unique, and the way that he would use art to analyze was both something that was very fascinating, but also something that was a bit ridiculous. Me and my sister discussed it at the time because we were reading them together.
Yeah.
And we were a bit skeptical of, really, you came up with all of that just by looking at a friggin' picture. It started to get a little bit ridiculous. It's like, obviously they're tricking us, and it's really Chewie and Leia that's doing that because that, and then they were on the Norski, whatever Glorski thing, because I saw this painting, which was a sculptor of its uncle's aunt. It was a little bit, a little bit like that.
A little bit of hyperbole, exaggerated, huh? Yeah.
So we kind of made fun of that.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, but it was also kind of cool too.
Trying to be like a Sherlock Holmes kind of deal, right?
Yeah. And what's his name? Palian was his gosh, what's that dude name? He had Holmes and Watson. He was his Watson. So asking all the questions so that Thrawn could say how brilliant it was. But there were also some scenes where we got to see Thrawn being genuinely vicious, like when he shot the dude who made the mistake on the bridge or whatever. So he showing that he was also a true believer. He was an empire guy and didn't no heart of gold underneath there.
Right. And people try to relate to him as, oh, well, he wasn't really a villain. I still see him as one. For that simple fact that he had the same philosophy as Palpatine. He was trying to also protect his own people, but still, there's always some kind of underlining reasons for why you're doing what you're doing, and stuff. And then for him to shoot someone, even though he says we don't waste lives, like Vader and Palpatine did, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, but then he still shoots someone for a mistake, and so that kind of shares that he still has the same philosophy, the same goals. Just the same as a menace as everybody else, but he was more of a cool, calculating menace. Whereas when you see Vader, he was like up front, like, don't betray me while he's choking someone,
Exactly.
We did see that this morning on Coffee Chat. I reviewed with the chat and everybody, Target, and it's called Target Vader, and it's the Empire comic number 19 and the Rebellion volume number 2. And it's solely just Vader, a Vader story. And man, he was vicious in that. He was very much vicious in that. So you're gonna have to go watch that. That was a pretty fun stream. It was only one comic that I reviewed. And so Shane Nolan says, and he was there. Matt and Stig not insulting each other this morning was different. Yeah, Stig didn't make it on with us this morning, and so I was solo, and it was pretty fun though. Still, I still had fun with everybody. Let's see here. And then hand shot first. So we have that.
Of course.
And Stig, Wilkins is a broken lightsaber in a shady world, or broken light bulb. I said lightsaber.
Ready to slip.
And then, hello, Ronin Blade. Hand shot first and paid for the mess. There you go.
He did indeed.
Yep. He's like flicked him credit, right? And then Grand Admiral Thrawn reminded me of Grand Admiral Dernz, who succeeded Hitler. Okay. And then, Snortopopus, thank you for coming back. Hello, humans and other critters. Well, hello, how are you doing? And then, let's see here. Joseph, if a Sith Lord were to convert me to the dark side, I think since I get angry easy, it would work. So you would easily be seduced then. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. And then let's see here. Here we go. Whoops. There you go. Shooting the guy wasn't a waste. He did it in front of the others. I served a point, increased morale in the others, or served a point, increased morale in the others. Let's see here. Are you trying? Okay. Was that don't?
Oh yeah, I think he's pronouncing. Correcting him. He didn't have the umlaut.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we got the grammar police here.
I get it. I think we all got what that was anyways. And so that's pretty cool that you started with the Thrawn trilogy. I started with Trusa Bakora, and I'll just go ahead and, since I'm going there, is announce the readers I haven't. I'm out of the chat right now, so I'll go back to that. So we are reviewing Trusa Bakura for a literature review. So I'm super excited about that. That's my first read. And then my OCD was like just to read in order when I started reading.
Oh, I am so sorry. I have opinions about that. I don't think that's the best way to do the EU.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
We all have our opinions and all that. And I learn, and I'm not the kind of person that's going to say, no, you can't have your own opinions on my channel.
How dare you? Well, no, I mean, never. Well, the way that they were released, in many ways, it was a good way to do it. Let me, and I think that perhaps if a person were to start with the Trusa Bakura, maybe they wouldn't get as hooked as if they started with the Thrawn trilogy, because the Thrawn trilogy was just so daggone good.
Oh yeah, it was. Mm-hmm. And of course, I didn't read everything in order because I don't have to wait for certain years for stuff to come out, like especially the X-Wing series. But when I got started, that Truce was relatively new, and so I went there, and then I went to the trilogy. So, and I don't regret it. I don't regret any ounce of it. No. And then so we have Chaos Man 17. What did you think of the news of KOTOR remake? Oh God. I remain skeptical as seen as how Disney has handled EU material. Hope maybe I'm proven wrong. Well, when the word remake is added in there, I would, stay skeptical about things.
It's like goodbye.
Yeah.
I just why spend your life being disappointed when you can have brilliant things already done that is going to be fun.
Right, exactly. And if it wasn't going to be a remake and they weren't going to basically reboot, right? If they weren't going to do that, but just put it on the console, I think was a PS. Which console did they say?
I think it's PS5, maybe.
Yeah, PS5. They would say now being used or playable for PS5 or whatever that word is for that, right? They wouldn't be saying remake.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, so that's
they're not upgrading. They're not cleaning it up. They're going to make it in their image.
Right. And so with me, the only EU that they honored and that was successful, that was never coined a remake, was Comic 108.
Yeah.
The Thrawn, they're like, we're bringing him in to honor the EU. They remade Thrawn.
Oh yeah, they don't give a crap about honoring the EU.
Nope, not at all.
Nope.
Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the heart of Star Wars, where it's fun to talk about Star Wars. All right, so for your favorite, what was your first movie you watched?
A New Hope.
Your introduction movie.
Yeah, 1977, A New Hope.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you.
Barely remember it. Okay. It was more, I learned after the fact that my aunt had taken me and my two elder siblings to see it. I just have my memory of it is being scared to death of Darth Vader. So that's my memory of watching A New Hope in the movie theater.
Oh, okay.
And I thought he was going to come and try to take over the earth and all that kind of stuff. So that's my memory of seeing Star Wars. I'd love to be able to say it was brilliant. And when that ship came up overhead, like everyone else, it's like, no, I was too little. Scared to bloody death of that man.
Yeah, Darth Vader.
Yeah. Or that robot, whatever.
Yeah. That was the beautiful thing about that, about having one of the most feared villains in cinema history, right, is Darth Vader. And it's like today, it's like I did the comic with Darth Vader this morning, and everything we've chatted about today, that I've been on or whatever or communicated, had something to do with Darth Vader. So he's been kind of a subject for me today. And I respect George for how well he, and the actors, because more than one person played Darth Vader, right? Don't
tell David Prowse. Oh wait, may he rest in peace.
Right. Right. We have the voiceover. We have David Prowse, and I forgot who else stepped in to play Vader at one time.
The stuntman.
Yeah, the stuntman, but I forgot his name. And and but but even David Prowse alone, he set that presence.
Mm-hmm.
Set that body image of like him walking in with confidence, overpowering, making people fearful and stuff. And with the voice of what's his name? Shit, I just had his name on the tip of my
James Earl
tongue.
Jones.
There you go. It just like completed that. It's just like you had this booming voice that seemed like it could echo. And so being a young child that really can watch it but really don't understand, and seeing such a menacing villain, I can understand leaving it and feeling like, oh crap, and you're looking up at the sky at night like, oh shit, are they gonna come and take over the planet?
Yeah, he's coming to get me, because I didn't have any concept, because I do vaguely remember he was taking over this planet. I didn't know. Galaxy far away, what the hell does that mean to a little baby?
Yeah And so they, George is like, oh, I made these for children or whatever. And you're like, it scared me to death.
Yeah.
Back then the rating system was way different than it is now.
Yeah.
So, and so out of the OT, what was your favorite?
Empire Strikes Back. It's such a cliche almost nowadays, but it was... It just was. It was so daggone good. Now, that was the first one I remembered seeing properly, even though I was still pretty little. I went to see it with family and some other friends of family. And I recall the moment that Darth Vader said, "I am your father." And my mother was sitting next to me. And she just goes, "Oh my God. Oh my God." And everyone in the audience was going, because we didn't have the internet. And it was just like, what? It just blew our minds. That was a moment that I remember from it. I also remember when they escaped with the hyperdrive at the at the end, when R2D2 does it, and it's like, we did it, and then they go. Everyone just burst into applause.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned to my mother and I said, what just happened? Because I didn't quite get the whole hyperdrive part of the story. But it was great. I loved Han and Leia in that. Okay, I'm a girl. I loved Han and Leia, and I loved Luke. Luke was awesome. He was loads of fun, and getting his hand chopped off. Oh my gosh. And the next 3 years on the playground with friends and everything, when we debated for the longest time, did Darth Vader lie to Luke? Did he not mean it? Was he just messing with him? So it wasn't just the big people that were doing it, the little kids were too.
Right.
Because it just blew our mind so much that the bad guy could be the father of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. You're like, no way, and then, and like, me, I was like, Empire Strikes Back, I was like, I wanted more, right? And I was like, it's we're, I was like, it's the end, and you're like, no, I want more. I want to know why, kind of deal.
Yeah. And poor Han Solo. I mean, that was the best cliffhanger ever.
When it was done right, when your expectations were subverted, that was an excellent example of that. It was an excellent example of a cliffhanger, like not only for Luke with his father, but for Han Solo. Like, are they going to find him? What's going on? And we're left with this ending of them trying to be hopeful after such a loss.
Yep. And of course, Yoda. I loved Yoda. I got a little action figure of him with a little snake that was around it. Remember that cheap one that they had, and he had that little brown body underneath it?
Yeah, that I barely remember that one. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Oh my God.
And I also had the Bespin Princess Leia, and I love that one. And of course, tore her little cloak almost right away, because the second you try to change it out, it had those cheap little pieces of plastic on it. So, those are good memories. And we thought Lando was awesome. We loved Lando.
Oh yeah, he was like a great addition, and I'm so glad that, you know. And you're like, you wanted to hate them, but at the end you're like, oh okay.
Yeah, he was
You know?
trying to, save Han.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So since we're on the OT subject here, and I'm going to ask you, who is your favorite character of all, like overall?
Yeah, this is where we get to the cover, because if you were to ask me right here today, who is my absolute most favorite character,
Mm-hmm.
it is the unseen one, the great, the brilliant, the unparalleled Beru Lars.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Beru, the
Right.
savior of the galaxy.
Yeah.
I think she's
Okay.
awesome.
All right. Elaborate more. I like what you said there, like the savior of the galaxy.
Okay. Well, we're minding our own business. And you got this idiot named Padme Amidala, and she is one. Okay, she is dumber than a rock. She's dumber than 10 boxes of rocks. Oh, Anakin, it's okay if you sided those people. You're human. What? Hello? And then you just got little Beru. And then in the not Revenge of the Sith, in the Attack of the Clones novel, she had a discussion with Padme and was saying, oh no, I don't want to be up and all there around. I'm just kind of content staying here at home. And on the surface, it's be like, oh, she's just wanting to be a stupid little housewife, little house in the prairie, not all cool like Padme Amidala, who's just so awesome. And then you see her later, of course, taking Luke as she was supposed to. And what's Padme done? Oh, I've lost the will to live. She couldn't live for her kids. She lost the will to live. And so who has to raise the boy? Beru. Beru stepped up because Padme sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And for the next, 18 years, she and Lars, I mean, I don't want to discount the fatherly figure in Owen,
Yeah.
but I see her as such a counterpart to what Padme should have been.
Right.
Should have been there for her kids. And who was there? Who was there to be the mother of these children, or at least the one that she had? It was Beru, and they lived very quietly. Her and Uncle Owen raising Luke, but also keeping this terrible secret, knowing that at any time, the bad guys could come and kill him. And then it finally happened. And did she run away like a bitch? Did she go, I've lost the will to live? No, they died. Well, both of them did, but died keeping the secret. So she is like the anti-Padme. Padme lost the will to live and wouldn't be there for her children, and Beru died for her child because Luke was essentially her adopted son.
Right. Yeah.
So
and then,
that's pretty daggone awesome.
Right. And I'll add to this since I'm feeling your vibe on this. And I'm also laughing how you feel about Padme, which is fine. I loved your thing about Padme, that's hilarious. And I do understand that. But like looking back at Beru, when she's sitting with, when they're sitting at their supper, I guess you can say, and they're asking Luke, like, oh, we got these droids. And, Uncle Owen's asking him to stay on one more. And he's like, God, I just want to get off this hellhole, basically. I'm going to just go into and think that's what he was thinking, but he didn't word it that way.
Yeah. Because looks like I'm going nowhere.
Right. Looks like I'm going nowhere. So basically it's a hellhole to him, And then, Owen, her and Owens are talking, and it seems like she understood Luke and had more compassion towards him versus Owen. And why I say that is that she's just basically saying he's not a farmer. He's got too much of his dad in him. But she says it in such a loving, accepting manner.
Well,
in
a very motherly way. Yeah. And that's the other thing. She's very traditionally motherly. I know that's not acceptable nowadays, but that's not something that you see very often. But there's a quiet dignity and a fierce strength in that kind of warmth.
Correct.
And the look that, and I love the look that both she and Uncle Owen have to each other when Luke says, maybe it's Obi-Wan, could it be Ben? And they just kind of look at each other and they're like, oh crap. So you also see an understanding. And don't get me wrong, I'm not male bashing here. Uncle Owen obviously, did great too, and he did the same sacrifice. But I'm going to say something controversial. I'm a chick. What can I say? A chick. I do gravitate toward female characters because I'm a woman. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with girls liking girl characters and guys liking guy characters. So I would have said when I was a little girl that Princess Leia was probably my favorite character because, I wanted to be Princess Leia, I wanted to do my hair like her and all that. As I matured, of course, it turned more towards Beru and Luke Skywalker. That's really my other one from the main characters. But you do gravitate toward the woman. Mm-hmm. The problem is that we've all had is when they do so at expense of the male characters or say that I want to see myself. So there's like a self-insert into the story. But there's nothing wrong with relating to certain characters that are chicks that look like, oh gosh, that sounds terrible. That look like you, but it's different to demand it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, she looks like a rose.
Yeah, yes, she does. Exactly. Precisely like me. Yeah, no, I've cosplayed as both Princess Leia and Bespin Princess Leia and as young Aunt Beru. So I've done that at celebrations. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I wish I could someday see pictures. And then
maybe one day.
Maybe one day, even if it's in chat or like private chat and I won't show anybody, but that'd be awesome to see.
It'll be as the ancient one always says, it's just going to be a flower pot levitating, rose but levitating above a flower pot. Just imagine me wearing a wig with the hair and all that.
Right. And then Rachel Rhino, he's all Bail Organa is a boss of a dad too. Yeah, they both stepped up. They both stepped up.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to get at. I was like, well, I'm not just trying to say that one woman did the whole thing. No, obviously not. And Bail Organa, the way he was in the prequels, I loved him. Yeah, and of course, Jimmy Smits, it was great casting. And yeah, he's a boss of a dad. It's just, sucks to be him. He got blown up by a planet. I mean, not by a planet, but he got blown up by the Death Star. And speaking of which, he didn't lose the will to live either. He did that. Was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right. And then let's see. Soul Assassin says Aunt Beru was checking out Anakin when he visited on the farm. Like, why can't a Jedi come get me instead of this farm boy? Okay.
Well, hey, it's human. It's human. Yeah. It's Hayden Christensen, for crying out loud. Everyone checked him out.
Right. He was like a nice little eye candy there, right? Even like when he was having nightmares in the bed and he gets up and he's like bare chested.
Oh, and don't even start with me on Revenge of the Sith Anakin, because he was full blown manhood in that one. Yeah, and he was shirtless as well. But even when he wasn't shirtless, gosh darn it.
Yeah, his loathing and him turning and him seeing the conflict, his brooding, all of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and the hair, and he was.
Yeah, the hair, all of that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes, all of that. When Joseph says, I like Luke Skywalker's wife, but she is non-canon and Ayla Secura. Actually, let's just, I'm going to say this real quick. You can't declare canon. So everything that was made by George, under his supervision, all of that is canon because he's the original creator. Disney Star Wars is not the original creator. So she's still canon. Gotta say that. So that's that. So, I mean, you may agree with me or not. That's fine. That's your prerogative. And then Steve Kenobi, I liked it when Cade decided to be Darth Talon's daddy for a while. He went deep undercover. All right. So let's go ahead and we're gonna go back into the movies and we're gonna go back into the EU part. So let's go ahead, since we're talking about Anakin in the PT. Let's go ahead. So what was your favorite PT movie and why? Or what is?
It is. Objectively speaking, it would be Revenge of the Sith. It was definitely the best of the lot. Easily the best of the lot. So many great moments in there. And I almost said Ian McClellan. My gosh. The guy who played the Emperor, Ian McDiarmid, yeah. He was amazing in that movie, and so was Hayden Christensen. I'm going to say something controversial. He did a good job. He did a good job. And anyone that says that someone else should have done it. No, I don't think so. I don't think that you could have gotten anybody that could have played that role better than Hayden Christensen the way George Lucas wanted it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And even like interviews with Hayden and even in George, even George stated that Hayden played Anakin the way he needed to be seen. Because even in, and I'm just gonna, and I'll be I'll say, since the word is controversial today.
I know that's the second time I said it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. And is that Attack of the Clones, when we see him and he's trying to flirt, he's trying to, discover things about himself and stuff like that. Jedis don't train people to be in relationships. In fact, at the time they seen them controversial, right? Like it's attachment. And we know, like, if you're really privy to the lore, that the attachment was seen in such a dogmatic way for the Jedi of the old order versus what Luke created. He kind of seen the fallacy in some of it. And, so Anakin, they never, he didn't know how to handle a relationship with someone, really, like a woman, and so we get that.
It was very awkward.
Yes. Yeah. And even the Sam thing, I could tell, I know it's cringy. A lot of people don't care for that line, but I understood it. He didn't know how to flirt. He didn't know how to be boss. He didn't know how to be beta, basically, if you want to say that. Alpha, and all of that. So of course he's going to be awkward, and so I appreciated that. He's not going to be a smooth talker. If he was a smooth talker, then I'd be disappointed, really, because that wasn't, they aren't trained that way, and he's never had that experience. And, he's just a young man, with hormones that don't know how to act.
Yeah, and I'm going to Padme bash again. She's sitting there dressing like a stripper. Of course. Right. I mean, the poor boy. It's like, no, don't love me, but look at me half naked. I mean, that I hate Sandstein, man. She had that dress that went all the way down her back. It was all open and down to her buttocks. I mean, come on. He's a human.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's like prancing around him in all those clothes. It's like, come on. Don't be a tease.
Right.
But and of course the other great performance on Revenge of the Sith was our very own Ewan McGregor. That scene was so powerful when he is yelling, I loved you. You were my brother. You were supposed to be the chosen one. All that. I mean, it was so intense. It was so sad.
It was, I remember, and I think I shared this. I don't know if you heard this before, but I remember I went and watched it in the theater, and I came home, and I'm knowing the OT, and I'm laying there, and I got so involved in this. I'm like, why did you do that, Anakin? Did you realize what you did? You're separating your family. And, so I was like, just torn up about that, even though I know what happens and then he gets redeemed and stuff, but just the emotions from it and stuff and just feeling it. And and all that, I was like, why? You just like destroyed your whole life out of something that you could have prevented, kind of deal, and it was quite emotional. Yeah. So we have chaos. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, but probably the one that had the most moments that I enjoyed the most was the Phantom Menace. Actually, I think that there were some really, really great moments in the Phantom Menace, particularly with the Shmi Skywalker, and when she is saying goodbye to Anakin and the music swells and it's just very dramatic. It really helps John Williams using his leitmotif to remind us, to show us where this is going. And then the Darth Maul, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon lightsaber fight. That was just amazing. It just blew my mind because we hadn't seen Jedi in their prime, and we hadn't seen a Sith in its prime. and they're just sitting there going at it. It was just intense. And when you see Ewan McGregor, when you see Obi-Wan, when he's behind the little barrier right after Darth Maul has stabbed Qui-Gon, and he's just kind of bouncing on his feet like, I just want to go in there and kick his ass. And he does.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just read that. Oh my gosh.
I wasn't going to say anything until I was going to let you get on with what you had to say.
All these dramatic moments, and this is up there. Oh my gosh.
Right. We're all getting serious, and they're like going into this kind of energy right here, which I expected. It's all good. It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's fun. And all right. So we already know exactly, like, for the PT, you know, like who you really enjoyed, you know, like Ewan McGregor as Palpatine towards the end. And we know who you least like.
See, I don't always relate to the woman.
Right. That's the thing too, and that's okay. And me, I kind of, like, people are like, well, she could have done better, and I'm like, yeah, there's some things she could have done better. And they're like, when she was pregnant, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, women do get kind of like, they lose their sensibility when they're pregnant. Right. They get very emotional when they're pregnant. There's all kinds of hormones. So I kind of got where she was getting at with her approach in the Revenge of the Sith. And so that's fine. I could have her dying part. I agree. Could have been done better.
Yeah.
Could have been
losing
done better.
The will to live, my butt talks.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because of Leia remembering that her mother, your real mother, mm-hmm. It was always assumed that was referring to Leia being with her mother for at least the first few years of her life. And the way Luke Skywalker goes, tell me about your mother, your real mother. So it was known. Mm-hmm. But I can forgive Lucas for that, because it's his daggone story. He can do whatever he wants.
I'd still hit on Padme. At least I know that if I turned to the dark side, I wouldn't have to worry about her.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just kill her. Yeah. Or she'll just lose her will to live. You don't even have to kill her.
Right. And then Chaos says, episode 3 was also my first Star Wars movie when I was 6. And I remember being so scared of Anakin burning. I did not see that scene until I was in my late teens. Wow.
Oh,
that would be breaking.
Yeah, that would be terrifying. Yeah.
Right. You know, and so when we get to that scene, and then, you know, we'll move on to the EU here pretty quick. When we get to the scene in Revenge of the Sith, and we have that final duel, how do you feel and think about their final duel and the ending? You know, of course, when Obi-Wan has the high ground, and I'll just use those terms. So what did you think about that scene?
I just always laugh about the high ground.
Right.
I thought it was I thought it was a really good duel, until it got to them like floating on little lava pieces and something. It got a little Super Mario Brothers toward the end of it.
Okay.
That was the part of it I did not like. But of course, the Battle of the Heroes, the score was great, and just the intensity which they just were trying to kick the crap out of each other. Mm-hmm. I think the choreography wasn't as magnificent as it was in the Phantom Menace, but the emotions were there, and you could just really see that. And as I already said, what happened with I have the high ground, and the only reason I laugh is you even see kids like on playgrounds and stuff doing "It's over, I have the high ground," and it just cracks me up. Everyone talks about "It's over, I have the high ground," but yeah, it's true. It was over. He had the high ground. So, yeah, but good stuff.
Yeah, that was really good. All right, so we know that you began with the Thrawn trilogy. What other series or maybe book influenced you? Like, what else, you know, like, was like, okay, I like this second, you know, like my second favorite.
Oh, the second favorite, easily the X-Wing series. If not my favorite, in the sense of my favorite series of books was the X-Wings, and my favorite trilogy was the Thrawn trilogy. But I feel like the Heir to the Empire and the duology and the X-Wing series are must read. Absolute must read.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is a phenomenal series. I really like it because we get to see the other side of the war, I guess you can say, where it's not just Force users or it's not the big three. We get to have more Wedge, and Wedge is basically, and I said this before in controversy, Wedge is my favorite Corellian pilot.
Oh yeah. Well,
Wedge is so defaults to Han, right?
Yeah. No, Wedge is amazing, and the character, the way he's fleshed out, and we see how he felt about everything that was going on as the pilot, and as the only survivor, rather besides Luke, the only survivor of the Death Star run. They all died, but with the two of them. And then also surviving the Battle of Hoth and surviving all these other battles in the second Death Star, that you see the impact that has, and even the survivor's guilt. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I gotta quit reading these comments.
I'm listening, and then I'm like, oh my god, these guys are cracking me up in the chat. The dark side Padme's narrative, Rhino. Yeah. So, oh my god, you guys are hilarious. Yeah. So, I missed the last portion of what you said.
I think I was saying something profound about survivors' guilt and war, but yeah, and of course, Cornhorn. Cornhorn is a fun character. Yeah. Right. So I like to think of must read. You read the Thrawn trilogy, the duology, the Hand of Thrawn duology. I think that those actually are like one big arc. And then you've got the X-Wing books and a few of them in between. But you can almost get away with not reading some of those in between books, because Mara Jade goes on like a 3-page revisionist history about everything Luke did wrong. Like, let me tell you, when you did this, when you did that. And by the way, when that was the Emperor, I don't think it was the Emperor.
Right.
I died laughing, because I'd always actually pretended that hadn't happened. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm Mara Jade.
You got Mara Jade. I can relate to her. Oh my god. Well, you both have, like, I guess you can say you're a red rose. She's got red hair. There you go.
Well, there you go. Yeah, we're exactly like, we're twins.
Right.
Oh, no, Lady Toriel, I don't think that Padme was Force sensitive. She was too dumb to be Force sensitive.
Okay, so if you ever want to trigger Miss Martin Muses, just talk to her about Padme.
Do you like Spaceballs? Absolutely. I can see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Great movie.
Right.
Yeah, and the Darth Bane trilogy. Oh yeah, Darth Bane. Yeah. I'm thinking about it more chronologically. And maybe I should have said this from the beginning. Right now, I'm looking at it as far as the Bantam era, and then going into the NJO. So that's where it all goes straight through. Yes, there was a Y-wing that survived. Wait, are you talking about the first Death Star run, or are you talking about the Return of the Jedi one? I don't think there was. Was there a Y-wing that survived the Battle of Endor? Or Battle of Yavin, rather?
A-wing or a Y-wing? I always get those. I'm not too, like, I can identify the X-wing, no problem. Some of the other starfighters, it's like I kind of get confused. So if anybody wants to share in the chat, but I know that either it was a Y-wing or A-wing, and it was Taiko Selchu.
Oh, duh, yeah. Oh my gosh. But that was from the Endor. That was from the Battle of Endor.
Yeah, that was the second Death Star run. So
okay, so we're talking about the second Death Star. Yes. At Endor, yes, it was Taiko Selchu, and then he was captured. Yeah. Right. But not at the Battle of Yavin. I got my battles mixed up.
They're both have to deal with Death Stars.
Yeah, Death Stars. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Right.
And yeah, Tycho Selku, he's also another cool character that we had from the X-Wing series. Those guys were so much fun. Mm-hmm. And I also like the X-Wings because you never know when someone's going to die, because the main characters were not Han, Luke, and Leia. So anyone could croak in that, and they did. We didn't have characters die until the New Jedi Order, like main characters. Right. So the X-Wing had some real stakes, and it was really melancholy, when you lost some people that you really, really liked.
Mm-hmm. And even Wedge, like when he was talking to, the squadron, he even said that, I flew with the finest, and basically everybody he flew with except for Luke are gone.
Precisely. Mm-hmm.
And that was heart-wrenching when you read it in the book and you're like putting it down and you're reflecting back to the movie and all of that, and then all they've gone through, and you're like, holy crap, that is some serious shit.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, in the first run, he was telling them, like, what did he say? Like a portion of them, like half of them, or like over half may not return. And, I'm like, wow. And then like, once you do your second run and more, your survivor rate goes up. Yeah. And I was like, holy crap. That's some serious stuff that he's feeding these guys. Test to see. Yes, we can see you. Are you looking like you're ghosted or something?
Oh, don't ignore Tim. Everyone give Tim some love.
He says,
we
good.
see you. We see you, Tim.
We see you, Tim. And yeah, we see you. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Someone go see what? The chat's awesome. It's on fire tonight.
Yes, they are. They're like feeding into this energy. I love it. So with the X-Wings and stuff, who would, besides maybe Wedge, because he's usually sometimes the big default, who was your favorite character? That's gonna be a tough one because there's a few of them.
Yeah, all of them I love. I love Piggy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The from the race squadron. Corn Horn I liked, though. I recently reread the Jedi for the EU book club that we were part of previously, and he was a little bit smug in that Jedi. So but Corn Horn was a really good addition, so I liked him a lot as well.
Yeah. What do you think about Tarek Merrick and Booster Tarek?
Oh gosh, yes. That was great because it also introduced us to Corsic, and we learned that Corn Horn's dad and Booster Tarek, they kind of had a Valjean Inspector Javert thing going on, except he actually got caught. Booster did, and that's why Merrick's, oh, I don't like you, Corn, blah blah blah, and of course, they're gonna fall in love, and they do. So yeah, spoilers. Sorry, they fall in love.
I'm not sorry for spoilers. If you guys know my channel already, you should know. And if you haven't read it, then go read it now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been like 30 years. I think that the spoilers have expired on these.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, and so yeah, just go read it. Like we're beginning this book here. And I'm having fun comparing the book to the Audible, and with this Audible for Truce, I would tell you to read first the book because it's plot heavy. Yes, it still makes sense to the story, but all the nuances that are in Truce at Bactora in the book.
Bactoria.
Those little nuances really help the plot line, help you understand further what's going on. And so I would say there's some, I would say, go ahead and start with the Audible, even if it's abridged or, abridged. But this one, no, read the book. So exactly.
I wanted to read the book anyways. But.
Yeah. Read the book. Like, so let's go to, New Jedi Order. Okay, what's going on here? What did I miss?
Sorry, I'm not ignoring you, chat, but I've got to quit looking because you're killing me.
Yeah, and then So Sasson says, Teresa, who would you have as your co-pilot, Wedge or Luke? Dun,
Oh,
dun,
Wedge
dun.
any day.
Okay. And that's the thing. He is not force sensitive, but he has flown with like even some of Luke's squadrons that were all force sensitive or Jedi because he's that good. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was, gosh, I got to quit looking. What was even the question? Oh, Wedge or Luke? Okay, sorry, you guys are distracting me. I'm not looking anymore.
Don't look anymore.
Yeah,
and I'm
don't look.
Laughing right now.
No, you're exactly right about Wedge, and also, Luke was cool, but he had little bit of a whiny reputation, and I don't want anyone whining at me while I'm in a battle. I need someone with that kind of calm, low, wedgie voice.
Wedgie voice.
Oh wait, that sounded wrong. Oh gosh, I forgot when. Oh gee whiz. Oh yeah, come on. Didn't we all said jokes about a guy called Wedge?
Right. I was like, Wedge. Yeah, we all went there. And Soul Assassin's trying to trick you right here.
Oh no, it's easily Dex. Of course, Dex. I'd rather look at him naked than look at Padme. Gee whiz. Oh, look at me, I'm prancing around.
Just no, but that's okay, Teresa. And then Tim, I'd have Luke as my wingman though. Oh, that's interesting. That Wedge is his favorite character.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then Wedge was considered the best non-force sensitive pilot. Yeah. And like I said, my take is controversy. I pick Wedge over Han any day. And when I announced that on one of my chats, one of my live streams, I forgot, maybe it was when I was interviewing Tim. And also, like, everybody was like going off on me in there because I said, sorry, but Wedge. And they're like, how dare you? No.
How dare you?
How dare you? Yes. And then we are Mike J. OG, can't stick around, have work to do. Love your channel. Always look forward to your discussions. And I try to listen after live. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you coming here and supporting my interview with Teresa. Yay. And the wine was strong with the Skywalkers. I don't think Luke was that whiny compared. He was a teenager, of course. Teenagers are gonna automatically, and I've done this. I think we've all done this at one point, is nag at our parents or like not agree with them. So we went away, either talking under our tongue or being very loud towards them, Yeah. So
I want to go to the Tashi station and get some power converters.
Right? He's like, damn it, oh man. And Open Air Lock says, I meant for bars. Wedge would get the better chicks. So Luke is my wingman. Oh, I see what you're saying here.
Okay, we got it there. Oh boy.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to Luke and Mara Jade and to the Union comic. Did you read those ones? Their Union one?
Yes, I did. And I know it's unpopular, controversial, but I loved it. Okay. I loved it. It was so much fun. I couldn't wait till it came out. Each edition, I'd go to the comic store, and I know it's cheesy. I know it's ridiculous. I know it's just nothing but really sappy wedding porn, but guess what? I mean, because come on, we got the bridesmaids, we got everything. We got not one dress, but two.
Yeah.
Come on. The art was horrible. The art was absolutely horrendous.
I agree. They could have done a lot better with it. We like see in some of the comics that we're reviewing now, and even in the past with Menace and all that, their artwork was good in those. And then we have that, and I'm like,
it's like in some panels, Luke's face is melted off. I'm like, what the heck is
this? And there's like one, I don't remember who it was. It wasn't Corn, I don't believe. I have to pull it out. Yeah. But oh my God, that's what she said. But anyways, and one of them looks like an actor, looks like Tommy Lee Jones, and I forgot who it was in there. And I was like, this guy is drawn to look like Tommy Lee Jones. Like,
yeah. I know
like,
exactly who you're talking about. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one it is now. But I was like, what the heck? Tommy Lee Jones is in this? You know? So what did you think? Because we were talking about not fights, but bars because of Tim. What do you think about the bar situation where they took Luke out on his bachelor party?
Oh, I thought that was fun. It's what would happen. It's what would happen if you get a bunch of people out and drinking, and I'm not sure realistic. It would be like Prince Harry and William going out and getting into a bar fight. It probably wouldn't happen. These people were public figures, but why not? It was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Give me a bar fight any day. Yeah.
And what do you think of
girls at the spa? I was like, I want that manicure. They're all wrapped up in towels. I was jealous.
You're like, God, I just need that. I just need a bunch of my good friends and go out and I get it. I do. I get it. And so what do you think about like the plot behind that where, Luke's kind of doubting, Mara's still a little bit doubting, like, because, she's going from a past life that she was raised in, right? Mm-hmm. And now she's like finally coming into her own, I guess you can say, and, people are, they're making the wedding, like this big event because they want to show, because Mara used to be a part of the Empire, right? And then we have Luke who bring back the new order or the order, and Leia, his sister, who is now, a high public representative in a sense. And so they want to show that there's a union.
Yeah.
And they did that. And then we have a couple of the Moffs that have survived and they're plotting against them.
I actually felt like that made a lot of sense. It did, that there would be people that would be taking advantage of such a situation. And yeah.
And I know some people, maybe it was Tim and them when I seen they were talking about the union, or maybe it was Matt, I don't know. But they were basically like, union, no, that was not blah blah blah. And I get maybe some guys might be turned off from that because it was like kind of
it was chick. It was a girl comic. It was girly, and I'll admit it. If I were a guy, I don't think I would like it one little bit, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's wedding porn. I mean, it's like reading, it's like just picking up a magazine of Wedding Today and just put Luke and Mara in every picture. That's what it was.
Okay, so what I said basically is that a company can't declare canon that's not their canon, right? So what I meant by that is that yes, Mara and all of them, George pre-buyout, all of George's stuff under his business, him, is still canon. A company can't declare canon if it's not theirs. So, right. So I hope I clarify that. I'm not here to discuss the whole dynamics of that. We're here to, have fun with Teresa and discuss Star Wars and her eyes and stuff. So, and her thoughts and how it makes her feel, and maybe, and what she hates and what she loves about it. We already know one thing she hates.
Yeah, Padme. The other thing I hate is Qui-Gon. Yeah, that's another. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, go with that then.
Okay, I don't hate him. Okay, I don't hate him the same way.
On a pedestal.
I know. Well, I figured I'd drop a bomb in there, but we're still talking about Mara Jade and that wedding dress.
Okay, let's go ahead with that, and then we'll shift gears to that. Okay, so go ahead, talk about that.
The wedding dress was awesome. Oh my gosh, the veil. Okay, I mean, it was gorgeous, and Mara looked great in it. What can I say? That was the best part of the whole comic.
Yeah. And what'd you think about their Jedi wedding? Basically, like, it's like almost like Luke may have, because we know he doesn't know exactly everything from the old order. He pieces things together, so he kind of reinvents something, and more than likely it turns out better than it used to be. And so that Jedi wedding they had, what did you think about that?
Yeah, it was interesting, the way that it was, the religious aspect of it, the closest they get to that, and that it was in the temple, and that they were both in their Jedi robes. I thought it was cool. And I think that this was written about the time that we weren't entirely sure that they weren't allowed to get married, because it came out I think, slightly after the Phantom Menace and before Attack of the Clones. So it was not established even then until Attack of the Clones, this whole, we don't have attachments, we don't live, we don't marry, or whatever. So, but it's certainly something that I would imagine that they would do is as Jedi. I felt, though, that Mara's vows were a little too sappy, to be honest. Mara. I didn't think it was true to her character. I could see her being the kind of person going, okay, what do I have to say? I do. Okay, let's go. Goodbye. I don't see her waxing poetic the way she did in that Jedi wedding scene.
Yeah. True. And then Soul Assassin says, wait, so we're not going to sharpen pitchforks, OG? Team Qui-Gon. No, well, I'm not encouraging you to sharpen pitchforks, but yes, we are going to talk about Qui-Gon because I myself, people put him on a pedestal and that he is wrong. The Jedi, that he knew better than the council, that he's a great Jedi, which I think is total bullshit. There's no such thing as that in the lore. And it was only gameplay that people got carried away with that concept, which I get it. People want to be ambiguous, but there's no such thing as ambiguous in George's lore. You have the good side, the light, and the dark side, that's bad. We have that black and white, concept. We don't have a gray area really. And force balance doesn't mean in between either. Yeah, so I mean, we can debate about that all day, and that's not what this is about. So tell me about Qui-Gon then, since you have such an interesting take, and I'm pretty sure everybody's ears are wide open now. So you're on the spot.
Well, I didn't have a problem with him until he met Anakin. I think that revealed an aspect of his character that was arrogant. He got it into his head that Shmi, just because she said there was no father, because she was lying, she was really knocked up when she was drunk, he somehow thought that meant that he was a chosen one. That's what I always thought. That's the true story. Forget the midichlorians. Okay. Well, I mean, come on. There was no father. And he goes, really? It's like, yeah, right, woman. Yeah, no father. I understand, quote unquote. There was no father. But no, I know it's canon that's not what happened. But he got it so much into his head, he is the chosen one. It must be that the decisions that he made seemed, that's when he started to get a little bit irrational. And he started to get a little bit arrogant. He was like, I have found the chosen one. Here, Mr. Council people, here he is, proclaim me him, and I'm going to train him. And meanwhile, Obi-Wan's over there going, what? What? Well, thank you. Chopped liver over here. I guess I suck. Sucks to be me. And, I mean, for reals, do you see the look that Obi-Wan gave? It was like, wait a second. When are you going to tell me about this? He was so blinded by Anakin. And
it's like prideful, right? Like Qui-Gon seemed prideful, which is not a Jedi character.
Precisely, he came off as very, very prideful. And part of the reason why you would have something like the Jedi Council is to kind of go before people who maybe might be a little more objective, people that have different skills, different gifts, because each Jedi is different. And just go figure, anytime that there's a big decision I need to make or something, what do? You ask all sorts of different people, right?
Right.
And so part of being a Jedi is not for when it's hard. I'm sorry, not for when it's easy, but for when it's hard. When they say to him, no, we're not going to allow him to be trained. And he goes, what? He is the chosen one. Oh my gosh! He's just about loses his crap like a squealing girl, and then they're like, "Well, chill, man." And then Obi-Wan, I think, is pretty rational. He's like, "The boy is dangerous. The boy is dangerous." And then he goes, "Don't defy the council, not again." And Qui-Gon just goes, I will do what I must. It's like, and that I feel like at that moment, that's when Qui-Gon was starting to be, he was actually being a little less forcey. He was cutting himself off. It was more Qui-Gon is wanting this. And he was so convinced that what the Force wants is what Qui-Gon wants. Isn't that convenient? No. It's very arrogant to think that. And of course he gets his arse killed. And then at the end, when Obi-Wan's like, okay, I'll train him without the council's approval if I must. And Yoda just goes, Qui-Gon's defiance, and since you need that, we do not. Which is like, yeah. So when you are so set in your ways, when you're so stubborn, we hear that the council are set in their ways. Maybe they were set in their ways. They were insisting to train him to the point that Qui-Gon's like, you train him, an unprepared person training the chosen one. Just right after you become a Jedi, you are going to train the chosen one, who everyone feels has darkness in them. That's all effed up because he's got mother issues and he's also too old. What could possibly go wrong?
There you go. You tore that apart right there. You're like, you have Obi-Wan, of course, he's very sure of himself and stuff like that, very confident, but he barely became a Jedi Knight when they decided to knight, to let him, they decided to knight him and then allowed him a Padawan. And all because he defeated a Sith, and so that was right there. That was, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's forced, no pun intended, but I get what you're saying there. I get what you're saying there. It's like it happened so quickly and immaturely, in a sense. So,
and it even could have been something as simple as the actor's performance, that, or the director, like maybe if George had gone, hey Liam, don't say it quite so much like you're a dick, and that maybe it would have maybe not made that an impression on me. But we know that it led to bad things. I always wanted to wonder, if you want to have a what if, is what if Anakin's role of being the chosen one and bringing balance to the Force was in humility, and through the humility of not becoming a Jedi, or perhaps even later earning it, becoming a Jedi instead of all these exceptions being made for him, that the humility he would have learned in that experience would have led him to more rational choices. And then as the chosen one, he would go ahead and still bring balance to the Force without all the bloodshed and pain.
Yeah. So you have a very interesting take on Qui-Gon, and we have people that are disagreeing with your take, which is fine.
No, that's okay. No, it's okay. No, and I understand. It's my interpretation of the character, and yeah, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say I hate him, because that's a very strong word. Obviously, I like him, but yeah. And I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not even saying he wasn't a good Jedi. I think that he got a bit blinded at the end. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Yeah, I know. I'm betraying everybody. I'm betraying everybody. You bringing out the pitchforks. It's my opinion. It's.
I get what you're saying, because he no one's denying that Anakin's the chosen one, right? But how and maybe we could say, and I'm always defending the prequel trilogy, but I do understand, like with any movie, even the OT, there are some things you look at and you're like, that could have been done better, right? What was George thinking, or what was so and so thinking right here, or whatever. And
and let's just be possible that maybe that was George's intention, that. That it was kind of rash and
doing things hasty, and the Jedi being going through a lot of being clouded by the dark side, and going through now questioning their Force abilities and stuff like that. Maybe and just showing that maybe Qui-Gon was also affected by that as well, because everybody thinks that he wasn't, but I believe he still was.
Yeah, I mean, and okay, I'll be a little bit nicer here. I'm going to take off the cranky old lady mental. I sometimes will come across where I make a very strong point to make a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Almost the devil's to get people thinking. That's my method in my real life that I often use. Of course, at the end of the day, Qui-Gon's cool. I had a doll of him. Oh wait, 12-inch action figure of him.
Yeah.
So nothing wrong there. But also, don't forget that Palpatine was manipulating things as well.
Right. Yeah. Right. And we already knew that from the beginning that he was.
Yeah.
That we started seeing him, accumulate everything, as we went along and stuff. And he was friggin' brilliant. He was brilliant. He even overcame and manipulated his master. And we know the rule of two is where, you're apprentice until you find a way to kill your master.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he did. And so let's go ahead and go into, you read the Darth Plagueis novel, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. So tell me what you thought about that.
It was good. It was really good. I didn't like the aspect of it where he was too much behind the scenes in the Phantom Menace. And the reason I feel that way is I dislike the whole idea, like, you thought this is what you saw in the movie, but this is what was really going on in the movie. Because the EUs and all them, they were really good at sticking with the material where the movies were king. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like behind the scenes, all of this was really going on. So that was a part of it that I was a bit annoyed with, but it didn't kill me or anything. It didn't make me upset because it wasn't lore breaking. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a little bit annoying aspect of it. But besides that, I loved seeing a young Palpatine. How fascinating. And hearing a little bit of his background. Yeah. So, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. And okay, so the son of Jor-El, she's not being a hater for no reason. She's sharing her experience with Star Wars, and this is what this is about. And we all don't have to agree with who we like, we don't like, and how we see those characters. And that's okay. And that's what this is about. And then, so we're talking about changing the mood. And so, he's like, let's, Soul Assassin was trying to say, let's go ahead and go to the light side and change the mood. And so Lady Toriel says, Quinlan Voss.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We can talk about Quinlan Voss.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do that. Since she put that out, let's do something for the ladies here. All right. So what did you think about Quinlan Voss?
I think that I would want him for my birthday. Oh, you mean about the character? Oh, okay.
Yes. Oh, goodness. That was a good one.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. He was a character that was fleshed out in the comics, in the Clone Wars comics. He has a big old background in his story where he got amnesia and he met Vinny. I love Vinny. And he has a thing with his Padawan, or do they? I don't know.
Him and Ayla. I think that was more like like sister, brother, father, daughter thing, depending on the type of their journey together.
Yeah,
because
I don't think they ever actually did anything.
Her name was Arlen or something that he really had that relationship with.
Yeah, so that's true.
Yeah.
All right. And then she went through her journey. Yeah. She went through her journey as well, where she had her issues. So I really like the way that it was fleshed out. Some of the details are a little bit fuzzy right now.
Yeah. Okay. And so with that, that they got the example of what Quinlan Voss should look like from the Phantom Menace, right? or was it the Phantom Menace? No, it was Attack of the
Clones. I thought.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones, when they went to go find Watto to look for where he's at. Yeah. So let's see here. And we have, I admit being a naughty bear, but I think the Jedi High Council was guilty of Praetorianism. Okay, sorry. Or at least was tending in that direction. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you can always be a little bit too much in that direction. I just, like I said, there's a council there for a reason, and that's all I'll say about that, I guess.
Yeah, don't be afraid to give your opinion now, okay? Like how you see this is about you. If someone gets mad, then that's their thing, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see authority figures, especially when you have like the 12, the way they would for the council, as necessarily being a bad thing, because it stops people from pride, from thinking, oh, I'm going to see it my way. You got someone else going, hey, dude, how about this? Or, hey, this little Muppet over there saying, hey, I don't know, have you thought about this? The one person can be a great leader, but one person is not always right all the time.
Right. And you nailed it on the head and stuff. And we also see that with Quinlan Voss's arc, because he's like, I can go in and I can penetrate from the inside, find out who the Sith are, like they were suspecting Dooku, which, in a sense they were right, but then they needed to find the master, right? They suspected, Dooku as the apprentice. And he's like, I can go in, I can do this, blah, 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 blah. But the council still doubted him. We did have some, they're like, okay, let's do that. And then we did have some, they're like, doubted them. And, so if they didn't have the council with, collective minds that will agree and disagree with each other, then we'll start seeing more of a dictatorship in the order.
Exactly. Well, and they would always bring in fresh blood too, and that also keeps things.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly. And so with Quinlan Voss, he's an interesting character nonetheless. His arc is amazing, and I can't wait till we finish his arc in the comic reviews that we're doing for Coffee Chat. And so I have another question for you. So what is your favorite EU series besides X-Wings? Okay, because that was the second favorite of to go to read. Yeah. So besides, the X-Wing series, what was your favorite series in the overall EU? You could go all the way back pre-PT time, all the way to the future, to Legacy or whatever. So.
That's a tricky one, because the New Jedi Order, I could say objectively, was probably the best.
Okay.
As far as a complete story and all that. But there was an aspect to it that for me went a little bit too far, where they were almost killing hope a little bit. Okay. So I understand what they were doing, and I cannot object to what they were doing. But I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it left me feeling. I really did not like the fact that they killed Anakin Solo.
Yeah.
That bothered me a lot.
Right. Thanks to George.
And yeah, I know it was George's fault. And I can only talk about my feelings on that one.
Right. We all have our
when they did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And I was attached to them from him and Tahiri from the little Junior Jedi Knights books. And it maybe it was because he was a kid, he was just a little teenager, that just got to me a little bit too much. It was just a little too close to home. Maybe it's where I was in my life, and then I couldn't really go further with Legacy, though I do. Yeah, Legacy, my gosh. Fate of the Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't go on with those. And what was it, Fate of the Jedi? Oh my gosh. The
The
one
Fate
where...
of the Jedi. Go ahead.
Oops.
The one where what?
Hello.
You're here.
Oh, you froze up there for a second. My brain cells may be dying because the one afterwards, the one where the twins,
they fight.
Yeah, Jason Solo did
Okay.
nothing wrong. Yeah, he did everything wrong.
Yeah, Fate of the Jedi, and that is Lethal Lightning's. He loves Jason Solo. That's his hot take, just like your hot take with Quinlan, or not Quinlan, with Qui-Gon. His hot take
Qui-Gon.
is Jason did nothing wrong. So everybody's gonna have that
Yeah.
hot take, and I'm hearing it because I get to see and hear a different side, a different view. I may not agree, or I may be like, oh man, okay, I see what you're saying. And so it gives me a different view of that character and a different way to look at them. And that's what's beautiful about Star Wars. And that's what's beautiful about talking EU is I get to sit down and talk with you, whoever I bring in for this interview, and I get to hear your experience with Star Wars, and through your eyes and how you feel and what you think and stuff. And it's a beautiful thing. And we don't have to agree all the time. When I understand people get heated because it's very passionate, and then we have, like the scars from, the EU being thrown out and, what's going on with Star Wars today. And I understand that, but this is what this is about, is coming back and nerding out on Star Wars, whether we agree on some takes or not. It is pure fun, so Legacy of the Force is one of my absolute favorites. And I do, like I said, Lethal's thing is Jason did nothing wrong. I don't sit on that fence with him, or I don't sit on that side with him, but I understand his view and I understand some of his points, but I think, Jason's was flawed in some things. No, it wasn't the same as Anakin's fall. It was quite different. Yeah, it still dealt with family, but it was different. And so I liked his arc. I really liked his arc. And I liked it all.
Yeah. Well, and I think that where someone like Lethal saying that, it makes you think. I like that. The same way, if I'm going to throw a bomb out there about Qui-Gon, it makes you think. You need to look at things. You need to look at things from different points of view. And I think that we all bring our own experiences to it. And that was part of the reason why I felt like I couldn't continue. I think I told you that the New Jedi Order kind of wrung me out. And then real life was also going on for me at the time. And when I saw the direction it was going, and then they killed Mara Jade, I was just like, okay, I can't, I can't. Yeah, I told you I had issues with Anakin Solo dying, and that one was, what's the right word I'm trying to think of, where you despair of any hope because you knew where it was going to go. You knew that Jaina was going to kill him. I mean, we all knew it. We figured it out pretty quick. I mean, imagine the idea of having to kill your own twin. Now, it is brilliant. Don't get me wrong. It is absolutely brilliant. But at the time, I just couldn't deal. I'm ready to read it, though. I'm ready to read it. I've got them all. I got them all in a secondhand bookstore without the stupid Legends banner. And I am planning to read it after I finish eventually the series I'm reading right now. But it's just too sad. It was too sad for me for what I was going through in my life at the time. So I went backwards a little bit.
Okay. No, that's understandable because this is escapism. Star Wars is escapism. We can relate to some things too as well, like characters or stories or whatever. And so when we're going to through something, sometimes if it's too much and we get to a part of Star Wars where it's dark and heavy and stuff, it's like, wait a minute, I got to step back.
Yeah.
I just can't handle this. And especially when it deals with one of your most favorite characters and they die, you're like, no, I'm not dealing with this right now.
Exactly. It's like I got enough problems in my real life. But it wasn't the same as, for example, what happened with the sequel trilogy. I never had any of that kind of feelings about it because it wasn't lore breaking. It was all logical. I can completely see it all unfolding exactly the way it did. But, yeah, but that's exactly what it was. Yeah. So I enjoyed also at the time the young adult one. So I kind of had a lot of fun with those, the Jedi Apprentice books. I thought those were great, the way they fleshed out the sequels. And I actually liked the little journals that they did from episode 1, especially with Padme's point of view and Anakin's point of view.
Oh,
those were a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Those were fun too as well. And that's the thing, is like these young reader novels that, these series from young readers, they were quite mature in a sense. They were fun to read. It wasn't like, like it wasn't as immature as you think it would be. And and we got to see the new generations getting fleshed out. And that was exciting, and you guys, please hit the like button. I would appreciate that. And so it's like if you can find them now, they're not being republished, but if you can find them now for a reasonable price, get them, because some places are asking $400 for the whole collection of the Young Jedi Knights, 14 books.
Yeah, the Young Jedi Knights and even the Jedi Apprentice series. Pick those up. Those are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. They're the best prequel books in my humble opinion. And if I were to say a series of books from the prequel era, the other ones are great too, but those are amazing.
Yes. And then
just because it's for like 13-year-olds, it's great.
Yeah, it's a great read. Don't knock it. And this is why I say don't knock it till you try it, right? And then so with me, I love the New Jedi Order. A lot of people didn't like it because how dark it was, how the authors weren't afraid to kill off people. And so what did you think about Chewie's death?
Oh,
there's another one. That's another deep one. Yep.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
Okay.
Again, objectively speaking, I can look at it. Objectively is my favorite word, by the way. That and controversial. I knew exactly why they did it, and I don't think I'm not even sure this story could have gone forward if they hadn't. But come on, it's Chewie and a friggin' moon landing on his head. I mean, dang it, that's pretty harsh, But I think I could forgive them that, because I have problems seeing young children dying, and Anakin was a child even though he was a teenager. Yeah, Chewie had lived his life, but it was sad.
Yeah, it was very sad. And
in my head, Chewie's actually still alive, if that makes sense. I mean, I know that it's all supposed to be canon, et cetera, and it was the story. It was approved by George, but Chewie's still alive. In my
You're
heart.
Not my Chewie.
Not my Chewie, exactly. Well, and I'm sorry. I can intellectually, in my heart, separate some of that stuff out. You know how when people, maybe if there's a really bad memory and you can block it out, like pretend it doesn't exist. That's like me and Chewie.
Yeah,
it didn't happen.
You're like, I'm in deep denial right now.
Like there's this blank part of my memory.
Yeah. Whole Soul Assassin says, you're breaking my heart, Teresa. You're going down the path of liking things I can't follow.
Oh no, I'm breaking your heart.
They're using a Padme line on you too.
Oh no, I know.
Well executed.
Oh no. It's okay. Here's the thing. I'm not asking anybody to follow me on this path. I march to the beat of my own drummer, and it's all okay. All right.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's okay. That's fine. It's like I said, it's our own journey in Star Wars, how we see it, how we feel about it, how it makes us feel, all of that, and for me with Chewie, it's very tragic. It did break my heart in a sense because you got this furball that was very committed to Han because of their circumstances. You know, he freed him from slavery and blah, 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 you know, all that. And then they had the years together, you know, piloting together as well. And then, but the way I see it is that he went down in a blaze of glory in a sense. You know, he went down protecting and honoring his Wookiee oath as, you know, for the life debt. And he's made Anakin go so he can stay behind. And that was heartbreaking. Did I want him to die? No. No one did. You know, but I understand that he faced that moon, sheer bravery. But I'm like, really? Oh my God. Okay, so, you know, so I have mixed feelings with that. So I can kind of relate with you on that. It's like, why, you know, and that, you know,
and that's why
everybody but Luke, you know,
that's why I'm saying, I'm sorry, I'm breaking up here. I didn't hear you there for a second, but I was just going to say, that's why they were very consistent with the character, because it was fulfilling life debt, and Mala, that she felt honored, you know, that he had died, you know, fulfilling his life debt by saving the offspring of, you know, Han. So,
because his life debt that extended out to Han's family, especially his wife and the kids, and so that was a big deal. And to see Han, how tore up he was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
and to me, it was believable. So
yes, absolutely, and that was the kind of estrangement that I felt made sense for Han and Leia, and it wasn't even really an estrangement as much as it was he needed to deal with it and he needed to get over it. Like, it just reached the point where that's what had to happen. She had to kind of put her foot down and say, you know, deal with this, but it wasn't like their marriage broke up, or it wasn't anything that fundamentally tore them apart. And of course, they got back. He just needed his time to deal and to get over it.
Right. And so his path that he went on made sense to him in a way. And, you know, and as a good wife, a partner who understands this scoundrel smuggler that she married, you know, and brought with him this Wookiee that, you know, is basically a part of the family, she did understand that that's exactly the path he needed to take. And it broke her heart still, because I remember reading some of it where it's like, you're leaving again? What about me? What about your kids? You know, and I'm paraphrasing right now, but still, you know, that was tragic. That was tragic. Yeah.
And and consistent, because they were together longer than Leia and all of them. They were best friends. They were brothers. They were all of that. So
yeah, exactly. So that, you know, the New Jedi Order, phenomenal. So I know you said the Luke Skywalker was your second most favorite character. Well, like Aunt Beru, Luke Skywalker. So tell me, you know, about Luke Skywalker in your eyes, what you feel about him, and how maybe he may have influenced you in a sense as your favorite character.
Well, what can I say about Luke that hasn't been said before? You know, the farm boy who gets the calling to something greater and answers it.
Yeah.
Don't we all put ourselves in that position? You say to yourself, I would go and do it. Would you? Or would you, after your parents get torched or whatever, would you go off with Ben? I don't know. And the fact that he was, I think, had some easier conflict in A New Hope, right? It's easier to fight someone when they're shooting at you, or rescue the princess, or you're in battle. When I say easy, there's nothing easy about it. I'm saying maybe plot wise, or maybe even in real life. You know the enemy. The enemy is in front of you, and you know what you need to shoot. But he then realized that the person he thought was his enemy was his father. And he felt through the nudging of the Force that this man who was his enemy was actually going to be his greatest trial, because he had to truly believe in the light side of the Force. Because it's one thing to say, I believe in good, I believe in bad. This was a test. Because do you believe in the light side of the Force? Do you believe that the light is darker? I'm sorry. The light is lighter than the dark, that the light can conquer the darkness.
Right.
So he had the ultimate test. This evil, horrible man who is your father, do you believe that the light is strong enough to open him up and to redeem him? And he did, and was even willing to lay down his life to prove that. That's hard. And that kind of struggle is what I think that most of us face in our real life. We face those kind of things. It's very rare where you're like, this is the enemy, that is the enemy. We have in our days many moments where we can do the right thing, and it's always the hardest thing to do.
Right. It's never the easy path whatsoever. And that's the story of Star Wars. And that's something that George reiterates on what is balance. And, it's like, do you like taking the dark side and, pride and greed and all of that is the easy way, but it's not the right way. It's the dark side, it's the bad side. But to be good, to try to have more, like try to follow your morals and do something right is always the hardest path, because it's always easy to stay in the negative, in the dark side, or the bad, or be bad or whatever, because it's an easier thing. It's especially when you have peer pressure, right? And so go into that. You can have that peer pressure, your friends saying, oh, come on, do it, no one's going to find out, kind of deal. That's kind of like what, Palpatine did with Anakin, come on now, it's good over here. So there's peer pressure.
And we have cookies.
And cookies, yum. And here we have Luke in his hero's journey, and he's being seduced to go to the dark side. And, and there's also like the push and pull of like, no, I don't want to be here, but I can't go with you because my uncle needs me. And it's so taking the easy way out is always is a lot easier than it is to really step up and be the hero for yourself, or be the person with the morals, or help out in a situation where maybe it's not popular.
And precisely. And you said it all. And so that's why I think Luke is such a great hero. And why I think it made so much perfect sense that eventually he would marry an ex-Imperial. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
The way that was done.
What storyline did you really like of Luke's within the EU? Or it could be even a single book.
Dun, yeah. I know. Shining the white light in my eye here. As far as a journey that Luke did that was not in it, probably it would be what went on in the Vision of the Future.
Okay.
Where I like it when characters go from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And Luke didn't really change too much in the Bantam era. Okay, he was Luke, he was great, and no problem there. But through Mara, through his realizing that he was in love with Mara, they had a lot of dialogue, and he had a lot of internal monologue where he was evaluating the last 6-7 years of his life after the Battle of Endor and the decisions he had made. And by the end of it, I think that the end of it was not so much the idea that he was going to be married to Mara or whatever, but it was how he came out at the end with that vision of the future, which is why it had the title of it. Even though Mara got the little quick vision at the end, he realized what he'd done wrong, what he needed to correct, and opened himself up to something he didn't think possible. And I think that's the first time we saw a fundamental shift in him since Return of the Jedi.
Right. He was like since then, and I see what you're saying, or I hear you. We've seen growth and stuff, but that growth was just through training, establishing himself and stuff, and finally we get that growth and we see the shift from the growth. And it took like how many years? Like 2019 years in that timeline, something like that. I'm just guesstimating. Let me just see if I have the timeline in front of me. So it's realistically took him about, my phone just died so I can't look at it, about, I would say, since the Battle of Return of the Jedi, the Battle of Endor, that was at 4 ABY. I think it took him like maybe 19 years, maybe a little bit more to have
the vision of the future. I'm not sure it was that long. No, because you had the Battle of Yavin, and then you had 5 years after that, and then I thought it was 10 years.
Well, maybe have in front of me.
Everybody Google. I mean 10 years after the Battle of Endor.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it could be, because I'm probably thinking about the one that's further down the line, and that is Survivor's Quest. A separate. It's like Mara's and Luke's like quest together. Like Han and Leia got Tatooine Ghost. They got Survivor's Quest.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was a good
and
one.
What did you like that one?
Oh, yeah, I liked it. They were again revisiting some aspects of the past that they couldn't envision of the future, and at the same time getting used to each other as a young married couple, or being young in their marriage. I thought it was good, and the way that Mara was tested. You always know what path you're supposed to be on if you've been tested and you still kind of stay on that path.
Steady.
Yeah, you stay steady. Making a decision is great, but you never really know that it's the right one, or maybe what is supposed to be meant to you until it's tested. So not to scare anybody, but you think you've just had a great idea, wait till you're tested and then see if it works. And I like that part about Mara.
Nice. And then so let's go
and
to
isn't that the one where she said the nod? Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to say one thing about her naughty line. Isn't that the one where she said, "Sometimes I call you master in private" or something? Yeah, that was it.
Exactly.
We all knew. We all knew it happened.
We all know what was being implied there.
They were having some fun.
You go, Luke, with your bad self.
Yeah.
So let's go with, and Truth at Bakura does have a kind of like sexy scene with Luke and Leia, just to let you guys know.
Han and Leia.
Yes. Han and Leia. Huh? Did I say Luke and Leia?
No, Luke and Leia only had one sexy scene.
Yeah, I thought I said Han and Leia because I was thinking that. Holy crap. Okay. Anyways, now I'm going to be teased about that.
Incest is best.
Right. Han and Leia have a sexy scene in there, so if you're not reading that, read it. And so let's go to them before I ask you another question and we start closing up here. Talking about Han and Leia. I know you love these couples here and how they're paired and stuff. And I'm going to go refer to Tatooine Ghost, because that to me was one of the pivotal stories for Leia deciding to have a family, to make peace with her past and her father. So, and then how Han handled that so well with her, because he's like, he's given her like thoughts of like, maybe your father had to go evil to penetrate from the inside to destroy, basically. And I'm paraphrasing, so I'm not really getting that. And, and all that. So what did you think about that novel and their story in that one together? Because they're new, they're almost like newlyweds.
I thought it was good because it had an aspect of Leia that we hadn't thought about. Was how was she truly dealing with the idea that Vader was her father, and what that implied. And I think that it was perfectly within character that she would be unsure about what was needed to happen in her marriage with Han, and the fears. I think that every parent has that fear, like what happens if my kid grows up to be a serial killer,
Right.
you know, or you know, what if I give birth to the next Hitler? You know, gee, I hope not, but you know what I'm saying. It's
Right.
it gets to the heart of things, and yeah, yeah, Han was very supportive with that, and kind of gave her own space too. You know, he's just so perfect. I want him for Christmas too.
Yeah, they're like Quinlan and Han.
Yeah, Quinlan's for my birthday. Han's for Christmas. Yeah, and
Okay,
the way that she got to revisit. She got to revisit Anakin. She got to meet Anakin. I think she'd only known Vader, so she kind of got to know Anakin by learning a little bit about him. And I always joke that there was always a moment in the EU where the characters got to see the prequels. So she'd just seen the Phantom Menace. It's like, oh, he was a little boy. Oh, they remembered him as a hero.
Yeah, yeah, and that makes sense. I like how they did that because the PT was being developed during that time as well, and so the author was it Troy Denning that did that one?
I believe so.
And yeah, and so he got to go ahead and dive into the PT or the Phantom Menace because of that, and I think it was brilliant in the sense because then it helped create the story of making peace with your past, for the future. And then it ties into her having her family and stuff, which we knew before then because I think Dark Empire was out before then. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So we kind of knew what was going on, but we needed to see how she got from A to B with that because we see an intrusive Bakura where she was despising her father. And stuff like that. She's like, tell him to get the hell out of my sight, basically. And Chaos says, with Anakin Solo got to meet his grandfather, or wish Anakin Solo got to meet his grandfather, would have been sad and emotional. So, all right. And so that's another great story. And I am squeaking on my side for whatever reason. You hear that?
Yeah. I don't know what's happening. Maybe the aliens are interfering again.
Right. They're interfering. No. Yeah. So we're going to start closing up here, but I want to know because you have education with music, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to, huh?
Oh, I said yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay. And then that's okay. That was kind of low. I didn't hear that part. And so what is your most favorite score in the OT? So this is kind of a hard question because it's all fabulous in there as well. John Williams does a great job. He's like he's one of the people that made Star Wars, no doubt. So what was your favorite score for the OT? Like what was the most phenomenal? I maybe should have asked you for each movie. That might be a little bit more simple or easier for you to answer.
Yeah, well, as far as the score for each oh gosh. I would actually say the Phantom Menace, and I have a reason for that.
Okay.
Of course, the original trilogy music was out of this world, literally. It was a great inspiration for me going into symphonic music. Listening to that as a kid and Beethoven as a kid were huge influences on me. Okay. So I'm just, I guess I'm saying it goes without saying that the original trilogy music was great. What made the Phantom Menace so great was the way he would invert the themes. The way that George Lucas said rather infamously because of that YouTube video, it's like poetry, it rhymes. So there were several themes and several moments where John Williams in his arrangement and his composing would take a theme from the original trilogy, like for example, the Darth Vader theme, and put it into the Anakin's theme where it is a mix of major, like he changes it to major and twists around, like moves around the notes, and then always, even though it has a lovely theme, there's always an underlying piece of dissonance going on. So you know that even though you're seeing this innocent kid, you're also hearing this dissonance in the arrangement. So you're uneasy when you're listening to this, and of course, very notoriously da 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 da, but they're doing it in a major. But at the very, very end of the credits, they changed it to the original Darth Vader theme. So that's one example. And then they did the same thing with the Emperor.
Yeah.
The Emperor theme where they change it to major at the end. So the big celebration, yeah, 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 yeah. You know, of course, that is the Emperor's theme in a major. And they're all celebrating, but they don't know that they're celebrating their own funeral. So,
Right.
yeah. So that is actually a magnificent. That's a great piece of music. That's very clever. But also the Duel of the Fates is absolutely magnificent. Holy crap! And the choral music, I just everything about it. Yeah. So if I were to say what interested me musically, it was that. And maybe it's because I was at college when I was seeing it, so maybe I just had that in my mind. But really some good stuff in there. As far as if there was a track besides the obvious, it goes without saying the original trilogy is perfection, but Across the Stars, oh my gosh, Across the Stars is a great piece of work as well. And they do something very similar to it, like that you know that it's a tragic romance, and that's the genius of John Williams. But if I were to say the original trilogy, something besides the original Star Wars: A New Hope, which just blew everybody out of the water, The Empire Strikes Back. It's unparalleled. And I liked the way that when you listen to John Williams' music, if you know the story, you can hear the story in the music.
Right.
It's loads of fun. Yeah.
Oh, it gives me chills. Yes. I mean, I love listening to you talk about that. You know, I do have some music background, but my grandfather, he was the one that played in various orchestras, owned his own music shop, could play every single instrument there. Influenced me to play the clarinet. So yes, I was at one time in a band. I did a lot of things actually when I think about now. Like I was in choir, sang for most of my life, you know, played, you know, the clarinet in band. I was on a dance team. Yeah. So I did a lot of stuff. But just listening to you and, you know, like even learning from my grandfather, it just gives me chills that, you know, I even though I can't say it in such a professional manner as you, I get what you're saying. And I can just imagine, you know, what you're talking about and just hearing the music in my head and thinking, yes, spot on, you know, and John Williams was brilliant with that. He was really, really brilliant. You know,
and of course I got the pleasure to perform a lot of that music in an orchestra, and I have conducted a few of them too. That is fun. Wow. That is really fun. Yeah.
Ah, that's so cool. Oh my God. Yeah. So what did you play? What, you know, this is kind of off topic now, but what did you play?
Well, I guess this won't give anything. Okay. I majored in string bass.
Okay. String bass. Yeah. Awesome.
And all kinds of bass.
Yeah. Okay. It's all about the bass.
So of course I had that deep sound. Yeah. So if you're playing the bass and playing John Williams is a blast, but it's hard. Holy crap. Is it hard? Because it's very complicated, and he usually likes to use a lot of flats, which is a nightmare for a string instrument.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So we're going to start closing out with that. I was like, I wanted to ask you some music questions as well, but everybody, even if, you know, you're educated in music or not, we can all agree how phenomenal, you know, John Williams' music is and making Star Wars what it is today. You know, without that music, the tone is gone.
Yeah.
Even the silent moments where he goes down low. And stuff. We have those contemplative, slow, quiet moments. Brilliant. So all right, Teresa, so go ahead and tell the chat where they can find you this coming week, what channel are you going to be on, when do you produce content for your channel, and then what have you.
All right, well, you can find me here on YouTube, where I talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. That's what I usually do with my morning musings, my midday musings, or my mid-afternoon musings. It depends on what time I feel like doing it. Currently, I don't have a schedule for that, but I do plan to do more of them starting next Monday. I usually have a requisite Catterday video. I'm putting one together. I finally got enough footage of my little tyrants to do that for Catterday. I tell you what, yeah, they've given me some good ones this time around. Yeah, and I show up on Nina Infinity's channel for Sunday night hangs. We're talking about what if.
Okay, awesome. So find her there and go ahead and subscribe to her channel. And I can agree with you on kitties. They are little assholes sometimes. Like I was on Babe to Menace before this, and I had makeshift put my curtain back up in my window just to tack it up right now real quick because the sun was on my face. And the cat comes over here and she starts brushing up and tries to get behind it and just pulls down the curtain. Yeah.
Of course she does. Yeah, when I'm on a stream like this, I have to block my door.
Yeah. And they're at the door with little paw prints going underneath, like, Mom, we won't do anything. We promise.
Exactly. And I have to barricade it because one of them actually pushes his paws against it because he learned if he pushes long enough because the latch isn't.
Yeah, they know. All right. Well, I'm so happy that I got to have you on Talking EU and just nerd out in Star Wars and hear it through your own, perception, your own experience, all of that. It's been a pleasure. You guys go ahead and the chat, subscribe. And those who are members, and if you're not a member, I say get out on this deal here and become a member. I do offer some great incentives, and this is one of them. And so between now and October, any members that attends the chat and live streams will get their name put in for a chance to win a copy of this painting. And that will be taking place in the beginning of October. So I'm taking down everybody's name. It's going to be entered on one of those little spin wheels. We'll do it live. And I'll get a hold of you and I'll send you your copy of your painting. This is Mistress of Rattatak. If you don't know who she is, I don't know what to tell you, but her name is Ventress, Asajj Ventress. And it's, I'm like, you should know. Like, damn it, you should know.
Well, the finger of scorn.
Her. Yeah. And so I encourage you, like, any support, being here just as a subscriber, I am thankful for you guys, and I'm grateful for everyone. It's, you guys have helped me build this little community, and other EU channels. You guys all come together and help build this community. I have met awesome friends like Teresa, and I'm so blessed for that. So thank you again, Teresa, for being here with us. And thank you, chat. And I will catch you later. And may the force be with you.
Always.